One.
Hello everyone, this is iTech 7407 Real-Time Analytics. Today we are going to give a group presentation on the topic Big Data Privacy. And my name is Harmanpreet Kaur. So first of all, I'll give a brief introduction about what is big data. So basically, big data is reflected by three V's, which are volume, velocity, and variety. As we all know, due to recent technological development, the amount of data generated by social networking sites, sensor networks, internet, healthcare applications, and many other companies is drastically increasing day by day. All the huge amount of data generated from different sources in multiple formats with very high speed is referred as big data. And next is, what is big data privacy? With hefty amounts of data generated every day, the user's privacy is frequently at danger because the data can be stolen by third parties for their personal benefits. For example, Amazon and Google can learn our shopping preferences and browsing habits. Same social networking sites such as Facebook can store all the information about your personal life and social relationships. In the same way, popular video sharing websites such as YouTube recommend us videos based on our search history. So there is a need to maintain the privacy of data users. So data privacy is focused on the use and governance of individuals' data and minimize the risk and protect sensitive data. This is all about setting up policies in place to ensure that consumer personal information is being collected, shared, and utilized in appropriate ways. So this is the privacy preserving mechanism for privacy protection at different stages. Big data goes through three different stages throughout its life cycle. The first is data generation. Data can be generated from various distributed sources. And the next is data storage. This phase refers to storing and managing large-scale data sets. A data storage system consists of basically two parts, which are hardware infrastructure and data management. The next is data processing. Data processing phase refers basically to the process of data collection, data transmission, pre-processing, and extracting useful information. Data collection is needed because data may be coming from different diverse sources, that is sites that contains text, images, and videos. Now we'll explain one by one at each stage how to preserve those. So the first is big data privacy in data generation phase. In data generation phase, data is generated in two ways, actively and passively. Actively means the user is aware that he is giving his data to the third party. Whereas passively refers to a situation when data is automatically generated by users' online activities such as internet browsing, and the user is unaware that this data is being stolen by any third party. The risk of privacy violation at this stage can be minimized in two ways. First is access restriction. In it, if the user is don't want to share his data due to the fear of sensitive information disclosure, then he can simply limit the access to this data or use effective access control methods to prevent data being stolen by any third party. Whereas in case of passive data generation, there are other measures which need to be taken to protect the data, such as anti-tracking extensions and other encryption tools. Also, the use of anti-malware or antivirus software is another effective way to protect the sensitive data stored on digital devices. The second method is falsifying data. Since it is not always possible to limit the access of data, so there is another method for maintaining privacy, which is called falsifying or distorting the data before it is fetched by some other parties. It can be done by using many tools such as Socket Puppet and MaskMe, through which data belonging to an individual will appear as if it belongs to different individuals and making it difficult for any data collector to get access to this data. Now, the next is privacy preservation of big data at data storage phase. Due to the development in technology and advancement in cloud computing, storing large volume of data is no big challenge, but the security of data can be still at risk, which can be prevented by using the following encryption techniques. The first is attribute-based encryption, which is a kind of public key encryption in which data can only be decrypted if the attributes of user key matches with the attributes of ciphertext. It gives the control to data owner to define all the policies under which data will be encrypted and thus provide end-to-end privacy to big data stored on cloud system. The second is identity-based encryption, which is also another type of public key encryption in which some information about the identity of the user is used as a key. For example, user's email address. And the third one is homomorphic encryption, in which the data can be encrypted and then stored on cloud and allow the cloud to perform computations over encrypted data. Given only the encryption of the message, one can obtain an encryption of a function of that message by computing directly on the encryption. The next is storage path encryption. In this scheme, the big data are first separated into many sequence paths, and then each path is stored on a different storage media owned by different cloud storage providers. The last is uses of hybrid clouds. Hybrid clouds are a combination of public cloud and private cloud. We can take advantage of hybrid cloud by separating sensitive data from non-sensitive data and storing them in trusted private cloud and untrusted public clouds, respectively. So this is all about my part in this presentation. And the next part will be continued by my team member, Jasprit. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Jasprit Kaur. Today I'm going to explain the other big data privacy aspects that are really important. So let's start with big data privacy preservation at the processing phase. So there are basically two phases. The first phase is to safeguard information from unsolicited disclosure because the collected data may contain sensitive information about the data owner. So the second phase, the goal is extract meaningful information from the data without violating the privacy. There are many different models that involving in the privacy of this study. So first method is cryptography. So in practice study of technique for secure communication, cryptography is used widely. So what does mean of the cryptography? It means to constructing and analyze the protocol, and we have to prevent our data from the private messages and from the public. Furthermore, this technology is used more and more in mobile devices with limited combinations. So next is steganography. So it is same like the practice of concealing a file, message, image, video. But the advantage of steganography over the cryptography is that it does not intend secret message, do not attract attention to itself as an object. So the next is the data mining and machine learning. Basically, data mining and machine learning are the biggest threat to the modern privacy. The essential purpose of the data mining and learning is obtain a new knowledge from the data sets. But usually data stored in the databases in a given venue where the data environment is a homogeneous. So it is very easily for the attackers to get their data. So there are possibly two ways to attack the data. First is the linkage attack. In this, attacker combine a publicly related data to the table with other data sets. They re-identify the data generated at different attribute level or record level or the table level. The second is a probabilistic attack. An attacker gain more knowledge about a victim based on the table and compared with original background knowledge of the victim before to release it. Then the fourth one is the biometric privacy. Biometric privacy is very powerful tool for security, which aims to identify individuals based on their physical behavior or physiological attributes such as face, fingerprint, voice, and gait. Biometric has been widely used in access control, and their procedure includes two stages. First is enrollment, and then second is release. The first stage, biometric features such as your fingerprints are sampled and informed as a raw data in the databases, and in the second stage, the related biometric characteristics are sampled again and compared with the stored one for their authentication. For the last one, game theory, it is a rich set of mathematical tools which deal with conflict and cooperation between the intelligent and rational decision makers. It has been widely used in electronics, political science, psychological, computer science, and so on. So, so furthermore, I'm gonna to explain two traditional methods for data preserving. First is de-identification. For de-identification, we are using three types: anonymity, diversity, and T-closeness. So attacker has access to public database and he can easily identify the values of an individual based on the tables. So the target of individual is the released database. In diversity, there is a homogeneity attack and the background knowledge about some individual is very sensitive value, attribute values. And in the last T closeness, the distribution of the sensitive data in an overall table that is called T closenesses. And the second method for preserving your privacy was to use the data sanitizing method. So basically data sanitizing method is to destroy your data permanently. So basically sanitize your social sling and attribute. So there are two ways in this method. One is attribute sanitizing method. In attribute sanitizing method, the attributes of the tables are sanitized. They can be added, they can be replaced, or they can be deleted in a within the table regarding to the information that is required at that stage. And the similar link sanitization method that remove or just they update your link according to your social media interface links. They can update, they can replace, they can edit, or can delete the links according to your preferences. So there are many benefit of this method. First, it maximizes the latent data privacy. That is very important for the data. And this method strategy can effectively achieve a meaningful privacy utility trade-off. That means a lot for the big data. In the end, I'm going to explain the challenges for the big data privacy. Basically, here I have described the 5 methods which I'm going to explain by one. First is the measurement of privacy. So it's really hard to measure your privacy because it's depend on time to time, person to person. So it's really hard, and it's already depend on the situation and time, person to person, and time to time. So there should be many new techniques, methods, or mechanism that that can measure your privacy. And second is theoretical framework of privacy. For theoretical privacy, there should be many new techniques and strategies should be implemented that person can be apply when he was dealing with this one. And we know data clustering method and differential privacy framework for the data privacy. However, and also, we also see the limitation of various data clustering method. So we need to have differential privacy in practice. So next is scalability of the privacy algorithm. We have some mechanism and strategies in place to handle big data base, and main strategy is divide and conquer. And the next challenge is heterogeneity of the data source. The available privacy algorithms are almost all for the homogeneous data sources. That should be that some new techniques. And the efficiency of privacy algorithm include the given volume of the big data, efficient become a very important element of privacy algorithm in the big data environment. So thank you. That's all my part. So next, Suchit will be continue. Thanks to everyone for listening me. Thank you.
Hi, thank you, Jasprit and Harambit for this presentation. Hello guys. My name is Suchit Kumar Sureshbhai, and now I'm presenting this slide. Here I will talk about the laws for protection of the data privacy. There is a two law in the 1974. 1974 there is the American Privacy Act law, and the 2014 in the right to be a forgotten. In the 1974 they provide a protection to individual by ensuring that personal information collected by the federal agency is limited to that which is legally authorized and necessary, and it maintained in a manner which is unwanted instruction upon individual privacy. And the second law is to talk about the corresponding name rule primarily regulate the ensure obligate According to this, and personal data must be erased immediately where the data are no longer needed for the original process purpose, or the data subject has withdrawn his consent and there is no other legal ground and processing. The next slide, please. Here we're talking about the privacy testing method. There is a 4 privacy testing method. First one is a pre-Hadoop process validation. Second one is a MapReduce process validation. Third one is the ETL process validation, and fourth one is the report testing. In the ETL process is the big data related operation is used for most of the world, and ETL refer to the extract, the transform, and load. The 4 area of the ETL are discussed with the test for the privacy is discussed in this section. The next slide, please. We discuss one by one the four method. The first one is the pre-Hadoop process validation. This is the represent of the loading process of the data. It is also known as the pre-Hadoop. This process or step helped in identify the data and data set. At this step, the process is used to get the information of the data set that are sensitive. The data which are contain the details of the individual or unique identifier of the user is then identified and stored. This is then separated and managed. The next one is the MapReduce process validation. In this method, the process is used to change the asset of the big data. The help them to quickly respond and react to the query that are be done. The minimized number of the value is then told for the privacy concern associated with the unique and individual value of the data. Next slide, please. The third one is the ETL process validation. In this method, the relational warehousing is to be a conform in the process and the compliance related to the privacy and security of the data is to be a manager and arranger in the testing process. And the last one is the report testing. The report are the used for the documenting the finding, and also awareness can be increased of the user. The data set are tested and reported for the further action that are need to be taken. Next slide, please. If we conclude the whole big data privacy, the big data is very useful, is providing insight into the data for the better decision making in various industries such as the retail, finance, web and digital media, healthcare, telecommunication, and etc. And the big data is the large amount of complex information in the form of the data set, and this data are contain the real life example and information of the user of the various platforms that are related to the various industry or operation. Big data is a conduct and the observation related to the similar are document. The privacy in the big data is one of the most and important requirement in the present situation. By providing the example of the threat that have been experienced of the data user and individual identifier of the user. The data from the social medical platform can be stolen and stored for any third party and use it for the marketing and any other purpose, which in the some case the original use of internal data manager and communicate platform. The cyber criminal can attack and access this platform, and this can be stored as a competition. Thus, the important and requirement privacy is big data is operational and such as a data mining, data handling, and data analysis. And that's are the purpose, and that's why we need the big data privacy. Thank you, and this is my referencing. Thank you guys for hearing us.